Hi, and welcome to the East Ward Update. I'm Derwin Montgomery, Council Member of the East Ward. On today's show, I'll be speaking with Tim Grant, the Director of Recreation and Parks, about the Winston Lake Master Plan. But first, I want to welcome Assistant Police Chief Barry Roundtree. Assistant Chief Roundtree, it's good to have you today. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do in your area coverage?
Sure, thank you for having me on the show. My name is Barry Roundtree. I'm the Assistant Police Chief. Presently, I'm assigned to the Investigative Services Bureau, and in that bureau, I have the Criminal Investigations Division, the Special Investigations Division, and Forensics.
So your area is the follow-up, pretty much. After police have actually gone on scene, your area picks up with the actual investigation of the crimes that have taken place.
Yes, that's correct. Primarily, the patrol officers, they go out and they'll take an initial report. And depending on what case it is, the case is referred to the detectives for more specialized investigative follow-up.
Right. Yeah, recently, in some conversations that I've had with some individuals in the community, there have been some concerns about home break-ins and home invasions. What are we seeing with that across the city when it comes to home break-ins?
We have seen our house break-ins or burglaries, as we refer to them, they have spiked. They're up for a while and then they are down. Most of the time as individuals who are breaking in when the homeowners are away. Okay.
Are there things that individuals can do to try to help themselves safeguard when it comes to these, or are you just seeing that certain things are working or not working?
Sure. We've seen where individuals are actually leaving their doors and windows unsecured. So number one, we recommend that those things are locked up. We also recommend that neighbors look out for each other. That's one of the things that we see when we go back and we do follow-up and we speak with neighbors, and they say, well, yeah, I saw a car parked in my neighbor's driveway, but I didn't call the police. You know, we do solve a lot of crimes, but it is vital for the citizens to also call in when they see anything that's suspicious. Don't think anything that's in your neighborhood that's out of the ordinary is that it's something that the police are not interested in, because we are. So if you see any persons that you're not familiar with, if you see a suspicious vehicle in your neighborhood, we recommend that the neighbors or a homeowner just pick up the phone and call, and we'll be glad to come out and check out that situation.
Now, after somebody home is broken into, which really is one of the worst things, particularly for people to feel secure in their homes, what happens then with the police department? I know I've gotten concerned in terms of how that actual investigation works. How do they actually go through that process of trying to find out who has committed this type of crime?
Right. Well, the follow-up is basically we have a screening process. Once the case is referred to the Criminal Investigation Division, our detectives are also assigned to geographic areas. That way they can work on leads that may be similar, because a lot of the criminals, they do commit their crimes the same way over a certain period of time. And in the screening process, we develop different leads and different criteria that we go by, depending on how the case will be followed up on. All the cases, a callback or some kind of correspondence should be done with the citizens, whether or not we have additional information that we can follow up on or not. All the cases where we have additional follow-up, it will be assigned to a detective. Even if the case is closed at the preliminary level during the preliminary investigation by a patrol officer, a detective or someone in the detective division still would take a look at that case, because we may not have a lead on that particular case, but it may be something close to what the detectives are working on that will help in the follow-up.
So regardless of what's happening in it, the citizen is going to get some type of follow-up interaction from somebody in the police department about what's taking place.
That's correct. The patrol officer may tell them, well, we don't have enough information at this time to send this case to the Criminal Investigation Division, so it'll be closed, but the case is still routed to the Criminal Investigation Division for review.
Right. And so there's that kind of a place and time when maybe you catch somebody a few months down the road, and because of the information in these old cases, you're able to tie those cases to these individuals as well?
Yes. Yes, we can, because a lot of the individuals who are committing these cases, they don't just go out and break in one house. You know, they have a pattern that they follow, and normally they do things the same way over a period of time.
Now, how can neighborhoods and communities, I know you mentioned a little bit about calling, and how can neighborhoods, communities really assist in that process of, one, trying to prevent some of these things from happening, but then also once they've occurred, how do they help, speed up that process of letting police know what's going on, but then also assisting in, catching the individual who's committed the crimes?
Well, one of the biggest things that I think is the neighbors working together and also working with the police. Again, if you see something that's suspicious in your neighborhood, go ahead and call. We don't mind coming out. That's why we get paid. So go ahead and call at that point. Also, what the homeowners can do to help themselves is record the serial numbers. We recover a lot of property from vehicle stops and various places. And a lot of times, if we don't have a serial number, we can't track that property back to the rightful owner. But that will help the homeowner greatly as far as getting their property back, and also we can prove that the individual that we have stopped, that property doesn't belong to him or her.
Right, and that's a good thing in terms of documenting serial numbers. That does make sense. I'm gonna go home and document some things in my home, because it does make sense. It one, it gives you a fact of knowing some of those things, and it's more information to give to the police.
You can document serial numbers, and with your cell phone cameras, or if you have a digital camera, also take a photograph of your property, whether it's a flat screen TV or DVD or whatever it may be. All those things will help in the investigation as far as convicting the person who's in possession of your property, and also aiding you in getting your property back. Right.
And I know in strong neighborhoods, strong neighborhood associations and community watches make a big difference. And I know in some communities there are not neighborhood watches or strong neighborhood associations, and you have a few people who are really concerned about what's happening and they want to get involved, but then you have a difficult time getting others engaged because they don't want to talk about what's going on. They're afraid to call police and let the police know what's going on. What are some things that you can say to those people who may be a little afraid of telling police about what they see happening in the community?
I would tell them that I think it's in their best interest to get involved. You can actually make a call to the 911 center without leaving your name, without the police contacting you. Just give the information to the operator. The operator will relay that information to a patrol officer that's going out. Also, another reason to get involved is because it may not be your home today, but it may be your home tomorrow, and you would want someone to help you if they saw a crime being committed against your property.
All right. And what I've seen in some of the neighborhood meetings is that, in the areas, again, going back to neighborhood associations and neighborhood watches, in those areas, when individuals talk about the crime and talk about incidents happen, particularly in those areas, a lot of times I hear them come back with the follow-up that, they were helpful, more helpful to the police department. And that's been one of the impetus to try to help other neighborhoods around them to reactivate, because a lot of them have had neighborhood associations, but over time people may have moved in, moved out, and so things have fallen off. And so when it comes to a neighborhood watch, citizens can contact police department and others within the city, correct, to help in that process of a neighborhood watch. Isn't that connected with the police department?
Yes, it is. Our crime prevention unit will be glad to come out to assist any neighborhood in the city if they want to start a neighborhood watch association.
And what exactly, and when it comes to crime prevention, what all does that unit do?
Well, crime prevention does an array of different activities, as their name states, to prevent crime from happening. They put on programs for youth. Of course, they do the community watch type programs. They can go out and do safety tips for your home. They have a survey that they use where they can say where you may need to strengthen your door locks, put on deadbolts, those type of things.
Okay. Well, I know that many communities and neighborhoods that they hear about it, some things like that, they like for people to come out and participate. Now, kind of going back to some of the investigative kind of stuff after crimes have been committed, within the department, how, when it comes to closing cases and actually capturing apprehending the person who has committed a crime, how successful are we with that process?
We are very successful. We are above the state and national average as far as clearing crime or our clearance rate. We do a lot now with our forensic services division. That is one division that's in my bureau. We're doing a lot with our fingerprinting as far as catching suspects. So I know a lot of times the process is slow, but there's a reason for it, because we want to make sure that we have the right person, and we want to make sure that we use all our tools that we have to investigate the crimes.
All right. And so you chart that high percentage of cleared crimes to a little bit of all of that?
I do. I think the thorough investigations that we do, and also using all our resources and using all our tools that we have at our disposal.
Particularly with the forensic part of things, and when you have individuals who have been burglarized, are there any things that they can do once they realize that they've been a victim of that to kind of, I guess, protect the scene per se?
What we ask is that they not go through and try to secure things before the police get there. Allow the police to go in, and then the police is going to do a look around, so to speak, and then we'll call our forensic services personnel out, and they'll do the photographs, the fingerprints as possible, and that way we'll make sure that the scene is not contaminated in any way. Okay.
Well, are there any additional things you'd like to share with the community about particularly your area of work and service?
I would just say that as far as combating crime, our #1 resource is the citizens that we have. You know your neighborhood, you know who should be there, you know when you see things that are suspicious. So we can't solve crimes by ourselves. We do need the help of our citizens. So if you see something, please call. We don't mind coming out. We'll be glad to come out. Any information that you can provide will help in the solving of the case.
Yeah, I know that there's some national, and I'm not sure if we do it here, but campaigns that say, see something, say something, kind of
right.
Campaign about, just that engagement and being involved in the community. And it really makes a difference. As I tell people all the time in community meetings, the police is only one part of the larger picture of how we actually help solve things in community. If we can't get the community engaged, the police's job is that much harder.
It is.
Again, I appreciate you and thank you for
all
your
right,
time
thank you
here.
for having me.
When I return, I'll speak with Tim Grant of the city's Recreation and Parks Department. Back in just a moment.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on line.
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
They might surprise you.
Hey, she took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
The Recreation and Parks Department maintains more than 70 parks, 17 recreation centers, and special facilities all over the city. I'm pleased to welcome the Director of Recreation and Parks, Tim Grant. Tim, great to have you here today. Will you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Council Member. Well, I'm Tim Grant. I'm the Director for City of Winston-Salem Recreation and Parks Department. What does that mean? That means I'm responsible for everything that we have, all of our programming, recreation facilities, and staffing.
All right. Well, there are some things taking place over in the East Ward within the Recreation and Parks Department, particularly in the Winston Lake area. What's happening there?
Well, as you well know, back in the latter part of 2010, we brought over 40 master plans to City Council, and Council selected 4 master plans for us to proceed with. One of those master plans was actually a master plan for Winston Lake Park. Winston Lake Park is over 470 acres of park property, and we took it out in about mid-2011 and had 28 firms respond. We conducted interviews for the RFP process, and as a result we selected a local firm, Miller Landscape Architect firm here, to begin a master plan. That master plan now is ready for our last public input meeting, and we think we've got a good plan that has had citizen input, and it will give us a vision for Winston Lake Park for the future. So we're very excited about it, and we think that citizens, once they see it, will be extremely excited.
Right, and just from some of the 10 things I've seen, it really the plan looks to transform the park from much of a static park in terms of not many actual features of use into more of a destination where you are actually more things, more amenities to draw people into the park, more things for the community to have within the park itself, which I think is good. Can you speak on a little bit of the things that are kind of tentative in the plan now?
Sure. When you look at Winston Lake Park, we've got one featured attraction there that we don't have everywhere, which is a body of water. That is the main feature of Winston Lake Park. So when we looked at it and talked with a consultant and began to gather citizen input, we found out that there were some basic things that people wanted. One was better pedestrian access, where vehicles and bikers or walkers or runners don't have to use the same traffic flow. So we wanted to make the entire park more pedestrian friendly. Number two, over the last several years, you know, there's a high school close by. The Winston Lake Y is close by. The Lutheran home is close by, and plus you've got a golf course there, and plus the park is surrounded by several neighborhoods. So how do we connect those citizens that use these other amenities and other facilities and even might live in the neighborhoods? How do we connect them to the park? I think I'm going to just mention a couple things. One, when you look at the area right off of Waterworks Road, that particular area will be kind of redesigned so that we'll have a water park, a water feature, where you would have a series of water slides, possibly a lazy river, possibly a pool where you could still have classes and teach swim lessons there, and more of the entertainment feature that people are looking for when they go to a water park these days. Right around the Ray Agnew ball field, how can we continue to have football there and work with the Football Association, but at the same time, how can we use that piece of property when it's not football season? And so we've looked at a multi-purpose use design that would allow us to be able to have concerts, large gatherings of people outdoors, whether it's a festival, whether it's an art show, whether it's a car show. How can we gather those type of special events there when football's not being played? In addition to that, we have a lot of people fishing at Winston Lake. We hear from them quite a bit. So how can we open up the lake itself so that fishermen and pedestrians could have access around the entire border of the lake? When we looked at doing a kind of a boardwalk feature where you could walk, ride a bike or run the entire length around the lake, and how can we make it more accessible for fishermen? Giving fishermen better locations, better access, giving them even a spot out on the lake itself with a pier where they could fish off the pier. With the attracting more people, you know, how can we add more restrooms, water fountains, so that the park becomes more user-friendly. In addition, if you look at the east side of the property, back towards Old Greensboro Road, how can we add more picnic shelters? How can we make that property more walkable, more usable? We looked at what we called an adventure park. An adventure park might feature nature trails, mountain biking trails, disc golf courses, even a zip line, or instead of taking a walk on a trail, actually walk a trail that actually goes off the ground up through the trees. And you know, these things we've never offered at this particular park before. In addition to looking at the northern end of the property, how can we better link the park with the golf course? How can we expand it so it's more accessible, more usable? We looked at doing some work on the driving range, moving the driving range back further, as well as providing more of an outdoor picnic pavilion that could satisfy the two junior golf programs that are there, the First Tee and the Ernest Moores. And how can we respect nature? We even looked at adding an arboretum. So you're exactly right. What we're looking at is to make this a regional destination, not only for the citizens that live in that particular ward, but how can this park be more usable? how can it attract some revenue or generate some revenue, but more importantly, make it a destination point for not only the citizens in the East Ward, but citizens all over Winston-Salem.
Right, and really what you talk about are really tremendous experience enhancements in terms of looks as the overall user of the park. What do you have there that can transform their experiences and bring them, again, as you said, not just from within the community surrounding the park, but from across the city. And I think that's an opportunity to bring different demographics into that part of the city to experience some of the great things that we have in different parts of the area. And I think that speaks a lot to that opportunities that we have there. And you mentioned a little bit about the golf course itself. And in terms, could you tell us just a little bit about the golf, because that golf course has some history in this community?
Well, if you go back, and I know you play golf, Winston Lake Golf Course. Winston Lake Golf Course was basically established or founded or built in 1956. It was built primarily as a golf course. At that particular time, African Americans could not go and play the other golf courses in Winston-Salem. And the African American community really needed a golf course, and the city worked towards providing that. The front nine was built in 1956. I believe that the back nine was built somewhere around 1964. It is a very challenging golf course, as you well know, a very tough golf course. And over the years, it is developed into a very, let's call it if you think you're a good golfer, go play Winston Lake, because Winston Lake has a unique opportunity to kind of bring your golf game back down to reality. But it's a beautiful golf course, it's a tough golf course, and there are a few things that we're trying to do and work on the future of Winston Lake to get more people to play the golf course, as well as to overall beautify the entire golf course. But it's certainly a hidden jewel here in Winston-Salem, and I would encourage anybody, if you want a good round of golf, of real golf, go play Winston Lake. It's got tight fairways, small greens, blind approach shots into the greens, and it will be a wonderful challenge.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to teach me a few lessons out there. We'll see.
I don't know if I'm a teacher or not.
Yeah, but I think both of the things we've talked about, from the golf course to the park area itself, where the lake is, are really a part of the recreational opportunities that we offer in the city, and the enhancements that we're looking at to make that even better. Now, could you just talk a little bit more so about the parks itself, and particularly our actual facilities that are like a Rupert Bell Park, or things like that, in terms of programming that's there for the community itself, and how do we get to the point of establishing certain programs that try to serve the community that they're in?
Well, as you well know, we have 76 park locations here in the city system, over 3,500 acres of park property, and 17 recreation centers. As you mentioned, Rupert Bell, and as well as 14th Street, which is also located in East Ward. These facilities are there for citizens to use. We have a number of new programs. If you're interested in Zumba now, or anything related to exercise, whether it's aerobics or chair aerobics, you have the opportunity to get involved. You know, a lot of people now are more health conscious about their overall health and wellness, and the opportunity to create new classes. If a citizen out there has an idea, and we can find 5 other individuals that want to take that class, we will work with that citizen to find an instructor and offer that particular class. You know, the park and rec facilities are there for citizens, and we want citizens to use them. You know, there's usually no fee or a very low fee with utilizing these facilities. And what we would like to do is just encourage people, if you have an idea, bring the idea to us. We'll work with you and work towards that. We have a number of unique programs. If you're interested in health and wellness or fitness, we have that. If you're interested in arts and crafts, or ceramics, or pottery, or quilting, we've got those type classes. And we try to offer a diverse program offering for a diverse population. So if you are a child, a teenager, a young adult, an adult, or a senior, we try to offer something for you at each one of our locations. And even kind of looking towards the summertime, when a lot of parents and families or others are particularly looking for opportunities for the youth during the summertime. I know we do
programs at the recreation centers, particularly driven to help work with and provide certain activities for youth, correct?
That's correct. We have 6 summer camp locations at different areas throughout the city. But if you have children that you want to get to the recreation center and let them hang out with us, you know, we have enough opportunities to keep kids busy all summer. And you know, whether it's basketball, whether it's softball, whether it's ceramics, or whether it's our computer lab. All 17 locations have a computer lab. We're tied in with Winston-Net. We do offer computer classes. And we think we've got some of the greatest facilities as well as the greatest programming in the state of North Carolina, and we just encourage people to get out and use it. If you have young people and you want them to hang out at the rec center, bring them down and meet the staff, take the opportunity to introduce yourself and your child to staff there, and we'll keep them busy.
Well, I like one thing you said about let them hang out with us. That should be a tagline. Said, "Come hang out with us." I kind of like that. You know, we again, from the lake to the golf course to our recreation centers, there are a lot of amenities that we provide through the city and opportunities for people to be engaged in recreation opportunities. And I think that, you know, people getting engaged with the master plan process and having this final comment, public comment period that's coming up soon, for people to get engaged with that. But when they see the final product, and then it all come down to the dollars to make it happen, which I'm hopeful that we can get something together to be able to see these things come to fruition, I think we'll truly enhance the community from both ends and be able to encourage people to come in and utilize our recreation facilities, whether it's the park, the golf course, or the rec center itself. So again, I appreciate you coming on and talking just a little bit about what it is that you do and what we offer within the parks and recreation centers. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the people?
I would just like to encourage people, get out and use the facilities because they belong to you. And if you have any comments or you see anything that we need to be aware of, please contact us.
All right. Well, thank you for being here with us today. I want to thank my guest today, Tim Grant of Recreation and Parks, and Assistant Police Chief Barry Roundtree, for joining us. Remember, you can see this show in its entirety on demand on the city's website, www.cityofws.org, on the city's YouTube page. I'm Derwin Montgomery, Council Member of the East Ward. This has been the March edition of the East Ward Update. Thank you for watching.